It is Thursday morning here at KCTV5, which means we have another edition of Voices of the Newsroom. And if you're new to the live desk every other Thursday morning, this is your opportunity to learn more about the anchors, reporters, and meteorologists, the voices of the KCTV5 Newsroom, every other Thursday at 11:30 right here on our streaming platforms. And today we are actually joined by meteorologist Melissa Meeder. Melissa, I have been so excited about this.
I am very excited to chat with you, Janae.
Oh my gosh. So for those who don't know, Melissa is such a bubbly personality. We connect so much, Melissa, on everything. Food, snacks,
Chipotle.
The Bachelor, Chipotle, which we're taking a break from. We'll hold off on that conversation. But for our viewers who don't know, tell us a little bit more about you. We know you're a meteorologist, now working the morning shift for a little bit. But where are you from? Take us into your life a little bit.
All right.
Let's get started.
I've got a lot to say. So I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, more specifically in Lockport. It's a very small town.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar with it, it's closer to Joliet, which is just about as far southwest as you can get before there's nothing and there's just cornfields left at that point. And I grew up there all my life. I did cheerleading for most of my life as well, as you could see from some of those pictures.
Which actually makes sense, going back to the bubbly personality.
Yes. And I did competitive cheerleading growing up. And then I did high school cheerleading at my local high school. And then I did college cheerleading at the University of Iowa for a year. And then I stopped because it was a lot. You cheer for literally everybody. So wrestling, gymnastics, it could be a lot, and kind of adjusting to that academics was hard for me.
Yeah, it's an all year round sport.
Yes. And I have a brother. His name is Jeremy, and of course my two parents, Maria and Bob. And my brother, one of the smartest people I've ever met, he's a chemist. So he lives in Oregon now, and my parents are back in Chicago. So I grew up, had the best time, best childhood. And then I went to University of Iowa to get my degree in meteorology, but that ended up not being a possibility about 2 years in. It's kind of a long story.
Okay.
But aside from that, I did end up changing my degree to be journalism and mass communication. So I then minored in geoscience when I was there. And I decided that I had always wanted to be a meteorologist, and that was just a little bump in the road. And so I decided to go on to Mississippi State, more specifically because they're known for their broadcast meteorology program. So it was a little bit of a hot mess there for me for a second when I was at University of Iowa, because it was kind of a point of panic. I found out that they couldn't create the major for me when I was a junior. So I had thought that I had to do 4 more years of college to do 8 to get my meteorology degree. And that ended up not being the case. I got my master's. I went to Mississippi. It was a very much culture shock for me.
Yeah.
And Janae, something else we have in common is we
both kind of started in Mississippi.
Yes.
Which I know it was a culture shock for me as well. Tell me a little bit more about, or have our viewers learn a little bit more about your experience, though.
So when I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
So I moved there during the pandemic. So I didn't know anybody. I moved 10 hours away to an unknown place. And honestly, the most southern place I had ever been was Texas. So I had never been really south. And so it's just a different way of life that I wasn't used to. Things are a little bit slower down there. And I'm really happy because I love sweet tea. So that was really nice to have down there. But I think my favorite part, other than getting my degree there, was that's where I met my husband.
Yeah. So introduce us to Noah and tell us a little bit more about that love story.
Noah and I met on an online dating app. I don't know if you knew that, Janae.
I did not know that. You know, you're not the first person in this newsroom who's met their significant other on a dating app. We'll leave that for later, but go on.
And on our first date, I canceled on him because I was nervous.
Yeah.
And thank goodness I rescheduled, because otherwise I wouldn't be married right now.
Now we're here.
And now we're here. We got married in July. And so he's a year younger than me. So when I was in my first year of grad school, he was finishing up as a senior. So he got his degree in mathematics. He works in finance now. And his family is from Mississippi. That's where he grew up. He grew up in a really small town there.
Yeah.
And an interesting fact about Noah's family is that his sister was an on-air meteorologist too.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, she went to Mississippi State, and then when she graduated, she went and worked in Panama City Beach for a while. She realized that this career field was not for her after about 6 months after doing hurricane coverage, and so she left. She went back to Mississippi State and then became the calculus 1 and 2 professor.
Oh, wow.
So I actually didn't have her for calculus when I was there, but she did give me some help, which was nice.
Yeah.
And so from there, Noah and I kind of went on a little adventure. He had always wanted to move to the Midwest, and I said, lucky for you, that's where we're going to go. So we went from Mississippi to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Right.
And then we went from Lincoln to here. And I will add, you saw a picture of our dog there too.
Yeah, we have to go back to that.
Paisley
We love dogs
girl. She is very sweet. She is kind of like me. She's like a little lounge potato. We lounge together a lot.
Yeah.
But we did just move into a house. So now she has a backyard.
And now she can play around. And you already said to me that she's getting dirty. She's just enjoying it out there.
She is.
She deserves it.
She does.
She's been on this journey with you all as well. So we know about your family. We know about your husband, which you guys are getting ready to celebrate your 1 year. Is that right?
Yes. In July.
In July. So that's coming up. A little unbelievable because you started around that time.
Well, I started in April. So it came pretty quickly.
So yeah, you just celebrated your 1 year.
Yes. And you know, well, no. I came here in April.
Okay.
So, and then we got married in July. So July is our 1 year anniversary, and we didn't take our honeymoon. So I will be gone for a period in September. We're going to go.
Coming in September.
Yes.
Okay, so you've worked every shift here.
Yes.
To be honest, our viewers are very familiar with you on air. But what do you like to do? What have you enjoyed so much about being here in KC? What do you do when you're not on air?
Oh, this is a good question.
I know.
I mentioned that I was a little bit of a lounge potato, and that is true. I like to watch TV. Paisley and I go on walks, but honestly, I'm trying to find a hobby. And I really want my hobby to be, because I had mentioned to you all that I did cheerleading growing up, and I want that to be my hobby. I want to do tumbling and things like that. I also really like coloring. That's kind of like an at-home hobby, but I'm in search. So if anybody has any good hobbies for me,
let her know.
Let me know.
She's open to suggestions. Melissa, we need to talk after this, because I think I have some ideas for you actually.
Okay.
I don't know about coloring. You lost me there, but I would tell you probably just to get something on Amazon, like a coloring book or something, and just kind of go from there.
Yes, I do. I have like paint by number, and I have like the adult coloring books that take very long time to do. But, you know, of course I like to hang out with friends. I've got a couple friends, and
you're just looking for something else to do. Something we always ask people on Voices of the Newsroom as well is favorite barbecue spot here in KC. It's a debate here in the newsroom.
Mine?
So I have to bring it to you.
Mine is Jack Stack.
Jack Stack.
Oh.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Wait, can I refute what I said?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, okay, so I love Jack Stack's burnt ends.
Okay.
That is my favorite burnt end. I really like Joe's, the Z-Man.
Joe's. Okay. We've heard Joe's.
And so I think those two, it depends on what I want. If I want a little bit of a sandwich, then I'll go to Joe's. But if I need some burnt ends, I'm going to go to Jack Stack. So that didn't really answer the question.
No, but are they kind of even for you? You like both?
I do like both, yes.
We'll take that. Okay, so since you've been here in Kansas City, you've had a lot of different weather events that have happened, to be honest. But I have to ask about your favorite, because we know you love weather events, you love meteorology, but what has been the most memorable for you?
For sure, since I've been here, was the snowstorm that we had in January, which I did actually, I was gone. I was in Mississippi visiting my husband's family.
You were. You came back to this.
I came back to this, and we had to leave at 2 a.m. on that Sunday because it happened, if I'm correct, like Sunday into Monday. And it was like planes, trains, and automobiles to drive back the 10 hours to get back here. But snow, I think, is one of my favorite type of weather phenomena. I think it's because I grew up in Chicago. We saw a lot of snow too, but like big heaping amounts of snow. Yeah. And that's exactly what we got.
Yeah.
I was out in the elements, which I also love because, most of the time we're in the studio. We don't really always get to be out and about.
Yeah, they threw you outside in front of the station.
And so I made some snowballs. I talked about the powderiness of the snow. So it's fun when we get to go out and, be in the elements. And the last time when I was in Lincoln, we had 9 inches of snow when we were there in one day. And that was my favorite event too. I think I'm just more of like a snow. I think I may be discovering that I'm maybe more of like a snow person rather than severe weather.
Severe weather.
Yeah.
So we know that when there's snow, throw Melissa out there. We know that. We're just going to take note of that.
As long as I'm bundled up, because I get very cold very quickly. But
that's also what we have in common. See, we have a lot of things in common.
We do.
Here. But I think another story or something that has happened here during your time here at KCTV 5 that's been your favorite, the most memorable, is this. So we're going to play it.
And when I start to think about t-shirt and short weather, the sounds of nature come to mind. I think we all know, well, maybe not all of us, because I don't know if I've ever seen a cricket up this close and personal.
No.
Upon some research about this, there are some caveats. The first one is that when this research was done, when Dolbear did this, well, we have a little controversy to address here at the end of the show. The first one being that it has maybe come to my attention that the cricket was in fact a grasshopper.
It's possible.
That could be possible. If you know the answer, please let me know, because in the description it says cricket. The other issue is that I am not very good at spelling, and so I did spell caveat wrong. And you know what? I did ask Warren to help me, and he tried.
I helped and told her.
Wait, I told her the spelling and told her there needed to be
And
a second
I
A.
misunderstood.
This beef has been going on, folks. For
Okay,
now,
guys.
thanks for joining us, and we'll be back
She's
at
trying.
10.
And when I
let me tell you that one of my other favorite things about working here is that Luke, Warren, and I, because we work the most together, laugh
All the time.
all the time.
They have a blast on the weather show.
We
Behind
do.
the scenes, in front of the camera, when it's on, it's a blast.
And behind the scenes,
They help you with your stuff.
they help me with my spelling. It is a known fact that I am horrible at pronouncing things, and I am also not the best speller, to the point where there is a list of words that I commonly misspell that Warren has written out for me on a post-it note, and it's attached onto my computer. So when this happened, I always kind of have him spell check for me, because just so everybody knows, there is not spell check in our software for caps, and everything we do is in caps lock. So I've now started Kavats. I have now started to do everything in lowercase and then like capitalize it later. But I came across caveats and I wrote it down, and Warren and I have about an hour that we sit upstairs together and we work on the weather show graphics. And I turned around and I looked at him. I said, "Is this how you spell caveats? Is
I
this
have
right?"
to pause it here because you can see Warren just waiting for his opportunity to let the viewers know that he told you.
And I originally spelt it Cavets, Cavets, and he said, "No E, there's an A." And I said, "Okay." So I deleted the E and left the A, and then it became Kavats. And I didn't have him check it again. And now there's a sign hanging up above my desk that just says Kavats with an exclamation point on it. And then there's a lot of pieces to this story. And then the whole grasshopper cricket thing, it's also a running joke that as I lived in the Chicago suburbs, I'm not really a nature gal. I don't go out I have a lot of allergies, so let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of environmental allergies. I don't really get out much.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a lounge potato. But it's become like a running joke that I haven't seen things. Like, I've never really seen a frog in nature. And how would I know the difference between a cricket and a grasshopper?
I think the safe thing here, moving forward, is just not to include that maybe in the forecast or in your your report.
Or have somebody else do it.
Have someone else do it. Let's pass that on to Warren. Let that be his task.
So it lent for a little laugh, a little fun laugh.
Hilarious.
You know, my favorite memories, that being one of them because it is so funny, is
just around 2 weeks ago, folks.
Yes.
By the way.
And it's just like laughing with all of my coworkers. It's just
love
fun.
it. Okay, Melissa, before we let you go, something we also have started asking people here at the Live Desk for Voices of the Newsroom is just something that you would tell your younger self or a quote that you live by as you continue on your career here in KC.
Oh, Janae, I think...
Always putting you on the spot.
I think it would be, you know, if you work really hard, you can achieve whatever you want to do. Mm. When I grew up, I struggled in math and science, and I didn't think that I would ever get to this point.
Yeah.
So it's just very exciting to be here and kind of like a full moment. And
yeah.
If you work really hard, you can do it.
Yeah.
Nothing is stopping you.
I love it because we really see your career and journey just kind of play out, and to look back at these photos, it has to be surreal a little bit, and then to just add that quote or what you live by every single day, it just makes it a little emotional.
I know, now I'm emotional. I'm like, my voice is shaky.
Hey,
I'm like,
welcome to Voices of the Newsroom. So to follow along with Melissa's journey, to learn a little bit more about her, you can go to our website, kctv5.com. There's a section in there that says Meet the Team, and Melissa's right at the bottom with the rest of our meteorologists. So be sure to do that. You can also download the KCTV5 News app and find Melissa that way as well. As far as Voices of the Newsroom, this is where we get to shine a light on the talent here at KCTV5. You can tune in every other Thursday at 11:30 right here on our streaming platforms, and we'll actually meet you right back here on June 5th with Lauren Magarino.
ooh.